Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I was asked to do a custom wooden path code tutorial, and because that can be made into so many different things, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole. There are so many versions of wooden paths, and I wish I had asked the people to be a little bit more specific, but we're gonna do them all. All right, this is just gonna be part one of a three-part series where I am gonna show you all of the different ways that I know how to make a custom wood path. And we're gonna start with the easiest one, which is why this is part one. You're gonna set up your colors, and the colors are gonna be very specific to what you want. I did go with like an older, more vintagey kind of color palette for this one. I just thought it looked nice and aesthetically pleasing for what I was in the mood for at the time. I'll put my color palette down in the description below. Feel free to shift that hue saturation or that vividness over to suit whatever you're trying to do. But for me, this seemed to work great with my needs. Whatever color you are using, pick whatever color and hue that you're enjoying. Make 5 of that brightness for that color. So pick the midline and then go 1 and 2 darker and 1 and 2 lighter on the other side, and then copy those 5, but then shift the hue over just 1, either lighter or darker or more saturated or less saturated, whichever one pleases you the most. And this is just to add some variation through the tones. You'll go in with that other saturation that you chose and just add a little bit of variation so it doesn't look so dead. I mean, I get that the wood's not living, but I mean, you know what I mean? Just that dead look that things get when they're just so monotone. So we want to avoid that, and the easiest way to avoid that is just to copy your color palette and just move it over 1 saturation. Now I'm just making a wood texture. I'm copying like pictures of wood plank floors that I see. Nothing special about it. One secret that I will tell you is that while I'm making these, just like you, I am winging it. I'm just doing what feels right to me at the time and what looks right to me in my own mind. I encourage you to do the same, experiment with things. If you would like to start just by copying the pixels that I make available on my server, then feel free to do that, and then just play with it and vary it and see what feels good to you. So anyways, we're just making the wood grains. It's pretty basic. I don't think there's anything really to explain here. I'm just going through with the other separation and just kind of making a little bit of variation in the tones, trying to make it look just a little more realistic, a little more vintage wood. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to this piece. This is the centerpiece. What you do want to make sure you do is on both sides, the right and the left, make sure that they join. Like if you were going to lay it out next to each other, you want the one, like the grains, the darker colors, you want them to line up on the other side so it doesn't look like literally cut, like there's a line down the middle. So you want it to be able to blend if you're lining these all up. So make sure that some of the pixels on one side match the other. But now we're moving on to the right piece. And for the right hand piece, what I do is I leave all of the left hand pixels that are connected to that middle piece. I leave those there, but then I change the whole right side to make it look different and varied and, you know, give it its own little personality. I do the same with the left. Now, if you're new to my channel, I just wanted to say welcome. Usually I do a lot of speed builds and I do a lot of custom code tutorials, as you've seen recently, but I do a lot of speed builds and build help and tutorials and things like that over here on my little cozy corner of the internet. I welcome you. There have been so many new additions to our family recently, And I don't know where you're coming from, but welcome. I have a feeling it might be hard mode, which I'm loving at the moment. I'm loving watching everybody make their own custom designs. This is like a dream come true for me because I like watching people learn new things. So going to all of these streams where all of my favorite streamers are learning how to make custom codes is like, it's so much fun to me. So if you are coming here by way of all of my friends that are other content creators, welcome in. My name is April Honey, as you've probably seen when you clicked on my channel. I am a full-time wheelchair user and a mom of 7. Those are pretty much the things that define me. I dabble in digital art. I made like all my channel art and stuff like that, and I do commissions and things like that whenever I get time. And then otherwise, I just am an Animal Crossing enthusiast. I do play Pokemon with my husband over on my Twitch channel. So if you're ever interested in joining me there, I will likely be picking that back up on Saturdays with him. It's something that we just enjoy doing together. And then otherwise, I do Animal Crossing over here on my YouTube channel. I might experiment with throwing in some other games, but I don't know. I can only focus on 1 or 2 games at a time, and this right now still takes up a lot of my time, especially just because I'm not bored of it yet. I know we're 2 years in, right? And I should be bored, but I'm not really bored of this game yet. I really love it so much still, and I still have so many ideas. So I don't know. I'll probably be playing it long after you guys are good and sick of it, but I still watch people play games that I played 10 years ago. So I hopefully you guys will hang out and just stick around. Anyways, we're just making this wood. We're trying to make it look as varied as possible. Make sure you look at your palette and just kind of see what it's looking like. If you're ever confused or have any questions about it, then just lay it on the floor wherever you're designing. And just every now and again, just go out of your design app and take a look at what it's looking like. So that because this is the right hand piece and in my head, my light source is always on the top left and it's going down at an angle, I just find that light source to be aesthetically pleasing, and I try to use the same light source on all of my custom designs so they look cohesive and it doesn't look like they're all going in different directions and that the sun can be anywhere. So I just make sure that the sun is in the same place in all of my custom codes. Just for cohesion, because it would probably drive me crazy if it didn't. It's just personal preference, and it really doesn't matter too much as long as you like what you're doing. On the left hand piece, I leave the right hand pixels the same so that they line up with the center, and then I vary everything else that's to the left of that. So feel free to have fun and change your wood grains and do whatever it is that you need to do. Remember, this is just like a little picture. It's kind of like a little artwork. It's really not that serious because when you think about it, these things, they're so fleeting, right? You see like a little glimpse of it, but rarely do you ever sit and stare at the floor in any of your islands. So try not to put too much pressure on yourself. And over here, of course, we're doing the highlight instead of the shadow because our light source is on this side and it's on the top. So we just did that tiny little shadow below the empty pixel. Now this is a variation piece that I'm making. I took that center piece and now I'm doing like actual planks with nails and whatnot to add like a texture to it. This is going to be for one of the, well, both of the other paths where it's going to have like edges that are going to be a little bit broken, I guess is the best word for it. So we're going to take the edges off of the side of this plank. We're going to make them look not so perfect. We don't want everything to look all perfect. On this one, that top piece, it ended up ending a little bit too close to the edge for my taste. I didn't really want to end it off there. It just seemed like it was way too soon. So instead, we are going to go and try and blend where that was into the rest of the path. Now, I am so sorry if you're hearing snoring on my end. I have a puppy next to me. I have 7 kids. I really don't have the opportunity to record a whole lot in silence. It's just not the way my life is. But hopefully you don't mind it too much. They won't be little forever, right? Except my dog, he'll be old forever, and he will snore for the rest of his life probably, because he's chubby, and it's okay. We feed him a lot of food. So I'm just making sure that my shadows, now for these, I do put shadows on both sides because I want it to look like it's kind of embedded into the ground, and it kind of helps with that illusion. So I don't put a highlight on the other side. I put like more of a deep shadow so that it looks like it's nailed into that ground, you know, like it's really digging in there. Now, for the next one, we're going to go with a little bit more of a broken up version of the same path. We want it to look broken and just not as perfect. This is kind of my favorite one. And we're going to create highlights and shadows kind of based on where the light is to help enhance that wood texture. We're going to get rid of the nails because this one is not nailed in. And we're just gonna have like little highlights to kind of show the wood like varying in different places, and where it's broken, we want that texture. And I really like this piece. I feel like it came out really cool. And when you see them laid down on the ground, it does look really nice. It would be one like that would be good for like a cottagecore or like a, I don't know, even a pirate island, but like more like a cottagecore or springcore if you go with lighter colors. And then we're just going to do the same thing to the other side. We're just going to break it up. We're going to like kind of not give it any type of rhyme or reason. We're just going to make it look like broken wood, you know? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be. While you watch this, I'll tell you what we're making. So we're going to make a very structured wooden deck almost code, and it's going to have like that little platform piece that we'll be doing last. We are making a more whimsical wooden path that's still kind of structured with the straight edges, but can be used in a more whimsical way to like maybe skip a space and add like weeds and flowers and stuff like that. And then we're going to do this very broken kind of worn down vintagey looking piece that is also going to go with a more natural kind of vibe. In my next couple of videos, we will be going with like an official wooden pier type situation and an actual wooden path code to lead through an island. I have a couple of those in mind, so there might be 4 parts to this series. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm not going to throw all 4 parts consecutively out there. I will add in other things. I've been asked for like a sidewalk, a planter box. It's just some other things. And I want to make sure that I get to everything that I'm seeing requests for. So I'll be putting out a lot of custom code designs, mostly because I can't really do anything on my island. So speed builds are out of the question right now. Here we're going to do the platform for the first set that we made, and I'm sorry it's out of order. It was an afterthought. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to make a little wooden deck kind of situation, like a raised platform situation for that first path? And I thought of it, of course, after I was already finished with everything else, because that's the way my life works. Anyways, in the very front that you see there's darker pixels over there, what I did was I took that 5th tone that's the darkest on each of them, and I made one darker, and then I make something even darker than that just to make like the darkest shadow lines so that it would stand out. Then I went ahead and I blanked out everything. I'm just using the basic middle piece in order to create this, and I blacked out everything and then just kind of left it on these stilts, you know. And then we're going to just start shading it in. And all I'm doing is taking everything below that line right there, that black line, and I'm just going to make it all darker. And the stuff above it, I just wanted a little highlight to make kind of a lip that goes down to let you know that it's moving from a horizontal plane to like a vertical plane, like so that it kind of pops out at you a little bit more. if that makes any sense. I'm sorry, that probably doesn't make sense, but it looks good when you're done, I promise. So just keep with it. It will turn out. So we're just adding some shadows on the side to, make it all blend and everything. And yeah, we're gonna add a couple of more shadows below it entirely, and then we will move on to the right and left pieces of this. You can totally just keep the middle piece and have that go along and have it be the only one you make if you're trying to conserve your custom design slots. Otherwise, there is a right and a left piece if you wanna do those. So thanks to the wonderful hard mode community, I have more ideas for custom codes than I've ever had in my entire life. It's probably going to take me forever to get through all of the tutorials and to figure out how to make all of the things that I've been seeing. But I will certainly do my best and try. And I encourage you to play with custom designs. I was really, really awful at it when I first started. It's not easy. And I do digital art, and it was still not like the most intuitive thing in the world for me. But once you get the hang of it and you figure out how these pixels work, it does come out a lot easier. There's a certain way they connect and you start to get used to it, and it's almost one of those things that you can't be taught. You kind of like do by trial and error and by just copying other people's do that tutorials or pixels or whatever, and then you kind of just get the hang of it. So the two sides are really easy. All you have to do is block off on the right and the left to make it look like it's, coming down from that plank above. And here are all of 3 of the designs that we made all laid out for you. I think they came out cute. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you guys try making them. I would be really excited to see that. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. I know that you guys can be doing absolutely anything, and you chose to spend a little bit of your time here with me, and I appreciate you so much for that. Your time is super valuable, so I appreciate any of it that you want to hang out with me in. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!